Hello, everyone. This is James with Yeshua is King Ministries. This is going to be I believe, the 14th sermon. I like to number them so they're easier to category or catalog. The other one was last one was number 13. It was the real Church of Yeshua. I hope you got a lot out of that. It was only 15 minutes. I don't like to go over and just bore people with a lot of the same messages that we all get. It's always good to have a personal experience with Yeshua that is always unique to each and every one of us. And no one is going to have the same experience with him. And when you do have an experience with him, you do in fact join his church. It means you're within his church and you have a testimony about that. So it's an amazing experience to be a part of. It's a network of a bunch of people that have had different experiences with him. I wanted to start out with reminding everyone of number 11. What is it like to become agape love? And this is a part of it, but I want to remind everyone about um, cleaning purifying your mind, your heart, and your being. Okay, I got to remember that. Part of that is agape love. When I got on my knees when I first turned to him, I asked for a clean heart, clean mind, clean spirit, being. Okay, being, spirit, however you want to say it. And it went along with where did I get that? I got that from um, follow him or look for him, seek him with all your heart, mind, and being. Love the Father with all your heart, mind, and being. So I said, okay, I would like to have a clean heart, clean mind, clean being, and be able to love him. So I started out that way, and this is before I read Dark Light. This is before I got into the narrow way and all that. It was a where it all happened. How I knew that, I had no idea other than that part, love him with all your heart, mind, and being. So you have to become, number one, agape love. You have to become it. So that was number 11. Now this is going to be number 14. And the second uh, thing that happens to you is that you become light. Okay. So this is not a thing of I am now a god and I'm light and all that. This is not New Age. New Age crap and self-worship. It doesn't work that way. This is on the narrow way. This is what Yeshua does. Now that would be your being. In other words, you have to become what he is. Correct? You're being made into him. So you have to become what he is in the spirit. And so that makes more sense, right? So you're following Yeshua. Uh, he, he does lead you a lot of the ways down the narrow way. And the set apart spirit is with you all the time. And you have to become what he is. That's a part of it. So, in other words, if this body were to shed today, okay, you would see, in other words, the being under it is light because that's what he did. So it's a very, and I mean, an extremely painful thing to go through. I've been going down the narrow way for about 5 to 7 years now. There's about a year and a half that I had turned to them, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Okay. So, um, so what happens here is this. He said, you're going to go through some pain here. It took about 4 or 5 days to do this. He says, and when he says that, it usually means not the normal pain or the dull ache that you feel when you're going down the narrow way. This is going to be some pain. So I said, okay. He said, do I have your consent? Absolutely. You have my consent. I would like to be like, I would be like to be made into what you are. That way we can get, it's being more and more like him. That's the way of the narrow way. So I said, okay. So it started hurting. It was a good like 5 hours later. It started hurting. And as it just kept slowly getting worse. And I couldn't sleep. There was 3 days. It was going on for 3 days. I could not sleep. I was up half enough, not all the night. And I was, going like a normal day and the next day and then doing it again and all that. And my uh my wife is the witness on this one. I was on the side of the bed and I got up and I was going, she's never heard this out of my mouth ever. I just don't complain. When I'm in pain, I don't complain. I don't talk about it. I don't whine about it. I'm just in pain. And I get just quiet. And I was like, oh, the pain. Oh, and she never heard me say all that because this felt like someone was punching my inner gut, but doing it really, okay. Say somebody just, just hit your arm. Now, eventually, if it's not really hurting, eventually it's going to start hurting if you keep punching in the same spot and it just doesn't go away. It doesn't stop. So it's like punching in the same spot, going over, boom, boom. Like getting punched for like 5 hours. But it's in your internal core of your body. And I sat down on the chair. I just stayed there bent over for a while. And then it started subsiding. It was about 45 minutes. There was nothing medically wrong with me. I couldn't attribute it to anything like that because I know narrow way pain, the difference between that and physical pain and if you're sick or feeling bad or if you ate something wrong, but just letting you know. But that was done. And what was happening is what he told me. He says, your internal core, everything that was there that was left over was being killed, was being destroyed. That's why it hurt so bad. It was all dying. And so it felt like you had death inside of you. So whatever was left of my former self was killed that night. And I'm just letting you know. The same thing happened to my wife because he told me I was finished with you. Now I'm going to go and change your wife. I said, okay. And asked her for her consent. Consent was given. And she went through 3 days of that. It wasn't as bad as mine, but it was bad. And she felt a lot better afterwards, after it was done. And she was in a better mood. So I'm saying to everyone, this is a process. Okay. Your heart, mind, and being. So first was agape love. Then there was light. And then the next one is life. And this has to come from the Most High, Yahweh. It has to come from Him. A lot of this is done in a legal manner. Most of this is contract. And he said that he said now what's going to happen? He says you're going to be turned back into what you were intended to be, to what our Father intended us to be. I said, okay. And this is why it's been so long since I did a sermon. It's like 10 days. This has happened within the last 10 days. So it's hard to do sermons when you're going through it. So here we go. So he says, I'm going to turn you back into what you were, or what Adam was, what you were intended to be. This is what our Father intended us to be. I said, okay. And I said, what is it? Didn't hear anything. He says, I'll tell you in just a little while. Okay, good to go. I didn't hear anything. And so I got up late at night. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning. And I heard him say, immortal, immortal. I said, really? So here was the deal. Adam and Eve was immortal, and then they died. It wasn't because they died because of the tree. It was because they died because they disobeyed. And our father had no choice but to do what he was doing because he says, we got to get him out of here because if we don't, he's going to go back and partake of the tree of life and he'll live forever. In other words, he won't die. It'll be a forever curse. He'll die forever. I guess we could say it that way. So that's what happened. That wasn't as bad to be done that way. I'm just telling you, this is what happens 5, 6 years down the narrow way when you're going through one thing after another. And I'll give you some pointers on how to do this and how to do it quickly. Because 5 or 6 years is very fast going down this narrow way. So what happens when that happens, in other words, your being becomes immortal when he turns you back into what you were. Like I said, you can only see all this beyond the flesh. The flesh will not show anything like that. This is all done internally and it's all done in the spirit. And no, I didn't have to go into my mind and reach eternal this and that and blah, blah, blah. This is done by Yeshua himself and the set apart spirit. Okay. And our Father in heaven, obviously. So what happens is that you get immortality. What that does is it takes away all of the evil, gross, dirty minds, disgusting minds, things that think people that think of nothing but disgust. And I tested this all day today because you can control the energy of the immortality. So you can bring it up to your mind, okay, and then everything goes away. It feels really clean, pristine, everything's fine, perfect in every way. It feels that way. And then you let it down. In other words, you absorb it back in, and all of a sudden, all of the crap starts headed back your way, everything of the world back into your mind. And then you push it back, and then you bring it in, push it back. And it gives you the idea of, okay, I understand this now. I get what's going on because that immortality is real. And this happened all day today. So what I'm trying to say is this. The very first thing I wanted to do when I got on my knees is I was sick and tired of Babylon. Babylon is like nothing but sex. That's all it is. You can only talk about sex for so long. And I was 54, 55, and or 53, back in that time, I got on my knees and I said, I just want to leave Babylon. I want out of all that. I just want away from it. And I'm praying for a clean heart, clean mind, clean being. That's what I'm praying for. I'm inviting the set apart spirit into my heart. I'm inviting Yeshua into my life and into my heart. I'm inviting him. Full consent. I invite you in. Um, and it happened. It only took 5 to 7 years to get it done. Clean heart, clean mind, clean being. In other words, folks, I have had 3 opportunities today to make a joke about sex. Didn't want anything to do with it. Didn't want to think about it. So it just bounced off of me and left. I didn't care. It's stupid to sit and talk about the same thing for however old you are 50, 60, 70 years old, still talking about the same thing over and over. And I remember watching this one movie, and one of the characters in the movie who was playing the devil said, hell is repetition. And that's all that happens. How many times can you see the same porn movie? They're all the same. All of them are the same. So they can only do it so many times and in so many ways. And you can only talk about sex or think about it so many times in so many ways in a day. It's old. It becomes a cell, jail cell. And guys, today I probably have never felt so free. They could have me in 5 jails, internal jails of, um, a jail within a jail within a jail, and I would still be free. I still feel free. It's not euphoric. It just is. And that's what it's all about. It's not euphoric. It's not like I'm on a drug or a high. It just is. It's freedom. It's freedom from that whole world. The world that most people I see are just stuck in. And they either don't realize it, they like it, or they're just pure evil in their heart, or not, or they're just, enslaved. And I'm telling you, this is what I keep telling you. His way, this is how you free yourself. I've been fighting for freedom for a long time. We even went back and revamped the United States of America, rebuilt that whole government. There were so many people that were stealing everything that we did, all of our ideas and everything. So many people were doing that. And so many people were sabotaging us. It never happened. There was a lot of sabotage. And so uh the process failed. Not because we did anything wrong. It was the people that weren't, it wasn't the way to freedom. I was not meant to be free, and neither was anybody else. You take, I'll just, for instance, you take Ann Vaughn, and the late David Straight, all those people. You're not going to be free. You're never going to be free the way you're going. There's only one way to freedom because our Father in heaven has you imprisoned here because you've been condemned. You were condemned. He regretted ever making you, ever creating you. But he's very merciful. So he sent his son to free you so that you have choice. And if you're dumb enough to ignore that offer, you deserve where you're going. You deserve it. Because right now, all you're doing is serving yourself. Every time you give something to somebody, you give it to them because it benefits you within the community. It benefits you. You're serving yourself. You're not serving him. You're not doing it for the Father. You're not doing it for Yeshua. You're doing it for you. You're not doing it for the set apart spirit. You give and you do good things for you. If you reach deep down in your own heart, that's what you're doing. And you'll see it. It'll take a little while, but you will see it if you open up your mind enough. So the point being is it's a it's a walk of freedom. It's not a walk of slavery. So what you're doing, oh, okay, this is what you're actually giving up. You're giving up drinking. Oh man, you know what? You just might save some money and stop getting sick in the morning and feeling like crap just for a couple of hours of euphoria. You're giving up weed, which just basically makes you useless. You have you're giving up cigarettes. Man, that stinks. I smoked, folks, for 37 years. That stuff is so nasty. I can smell it 500 feet away in a parking lot. Somebody is smoking a cigarette somewhere. It's that disgusting. You can never get clean. Your fingers will always remain yellow. It stinks. It's expensive. They're going for almost $10 a pack now. That blew my mind when I saw that. $10 and people are still doing it. Like, how do you afford that? You got to be stealing something, man, because you can't afford it. So I'm not going to get into the okay, go back and don't erase your history. Go back and go through a porn session. Okay. And when you normally go out or at the time of night or whatever you do, you do usually watch porn. Just don't worry about your history and hiding it for now, because I know you will. Just go do your thing. Okay. Then go back to your history and find out and look at how many websites you saw. Bet you any amount of money you went there and it would be anywhere from 10 different ones to over 300 different websites that you'll be going looking for something. You don't know why it doesn't fulfill you. You can't figure it out. And you keep going here and keep going there and keep doing this and that, looking at this and looking at that. And then look at the timestamp as to what time it was and figure out how many hours that you were on there doing that. If you have children, those are the hours that you could have been sitting there with your children, talking to them and stuff like that, getting to know them better. If you're married, this is going to be the time that you're sitting there talking to your wife. And if you two don't get along, okay, you need counseling. You don't need to be going around and looking at porn. That's adultery. Can't do that. How do I say that? Because you're thinking it. You're thinking about being with this other woman. That's what's happening. So that's adultery. And the wife's probably upstairs in bed, sitting there by herself. Figure out how many hours that you've done that. You're a slave. You have to go outside to smoke. You're a slave. You're a slave to that cigarette, is what I'm saying. You have to, there's not a, you have to go outside and smoke. That cigarette pulled you outside and controls you. You didn't think I was saying you're a slave for this or that. You're a slave to the cigarette. The cigarette does it. So these are all those things. So when you have a clear mind and a clean mind, you don't think about those things anymore. Your mind is on the Father. Your mind is on Yeshua. Your mind is on the set apart spirit and learning clean things. Or you would not believe the amount of peace that you feel. Now, here's the funny thing. During the narrow way, I'll teach you about some other stuff that happens to you. Down the narrow way, you're going to feel more peace. There's a lot of peace. And what it is there's two separate types of peace. There's an absence of war, and then there's a harmony. Okay. Harmony is a type of peace. And then war, an absence of war is a type of peace. And what you're doing is you're going down the narrow way to reconcile with our Father in heaven. That's a war type of peace. When you get there, Yeshua will say, will share with you his peace with the Father, which means all of the that he's perfect. And the relation you see the relationship that he has with him, and he actually shares that with you, which is really cool. And you would not believe the peace that he has with our Father in heaven. He has no paranoia. He's not looking over his shoulder. There's nothing going on. He rests and he can rest. And he shares this rest with you. And that's why he says, if you follow me, I'll give you rest. That's where that comes from. What he's talking about is his relationship with the Father and then helping you dwell within that one. He's not a stingy man. He tells you, here, this is what it does. It's an amazing experience. And I recommend it to anyone that does this because the alternative, not good. It's not a good alternative. I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to warn you. The alternative is not a good alternative. So you could get there and start getting angry with him. You go through a lot of angry with the Father. Don't do that. They're trying to help you. They're trying to save you. And having a dirty mind, thinking about sex all the time and things that are not of him, having that is a is death within you. That's exactly what it is. It's death. So I can't really explain it any other way other than you will not survive an eternal life if you're thinking and if your mind is filled with death, because that eternal life destroys death. It comes in and takes it over. So let's go back and I'll give you an example of a narrow way. Okay. Say you go in and you find out in your heart, they bring you to a scenario and you find out in your heart that you're stingy, just greedy. Okay. It's right there in front of your face. It's greed. Okay. So how do you don't react to that of no, it's not. You don't react that way. You react to that as if this greed is in my heart, please take it away from me. And I'm sorry, it's raining pretty hard here. So if you're hearing this in the background, I do apologize. Um, if it's in your heart, you acknowledge it. I'm greedy. Yeshua, would you please remove this greed from my heart? And when you do, can you put yourself in its place in that part of my heart? That's all. That's the narrow way. You're not being shown that to condemn you. You're already condemned. You're being shown that because everything is done by consent. They never do anything without consent. It's all choice. So what you do is, and this is how that greedy person that's within you is removed and filled with Yeshua. This is how you slowly die. This is how you slowly turn into Yeshua. He shows you why you were condemned. Here, this is in you. This is why you were condemned. The whole narrow way is a testimony as to why our Father in heaven condemned us and agree with him. If you agree with him to your condemnation, it goes a lot faster. If you fight it, you're not fighting or hurting anybody but yourself. No one but yourself. So each and every part of your heart, say you lust for your next door neighbor and you got a wife sitting right there, beautiful wife, but you're lusting for the next door neighbor. And you're sitting there and have all these fantasy scenarios going on and everything else. Okay? Say that's going on. So what do? You ask Yeshua to remove it. And then you invite him into that part of your heart. Say you're sitting there watching pornography. Okay? And your computer, your normal place, because you found a hiding place that you can go to without anybody catching you, of what you put a lot of energy into. of doing that and creating that scenario. And why don't you invite him in to that place, that secret place that you have? Invite Yeshua into that part of your heart because obviously it's empty. You're trying to fill it with all this garbage. So why don't you ask him to remove all that garbage and bring him into that part of your heart? Then Mr. Porn Guy dies, goes away. And it's a whole lot easier to stop watching it because every time you go to that part of your heart to go watch it, Yeshua's right there. That other part's gone. And this is how it works. And you do this over and over and over with all the crazy crap that you do, things that you would never have believed would actually were there. And you keep replacing everything. Eventually your heart is filled with Yeshua, filled with it. The set apart spirit is filled with you. And then the last part is the immortality is filled into your mind. So now you have a clean heart, clean mind, clean being, and you are able to love your Father with all your heart, mind, and being, and able to love your neighbor as yourself. And once all those things are there, you have no reason to sin. You have no reason to do anything that is harmful to others. All the laws are fulfilled, and you're good. Your guilty heart's gone. You're completely free. This is the truth. That is a testimony as to what's happened for the last 10 days of my life. And I've been doing this for a while. And I can describe it. I can tell you what it is, how it works, blah, blah, blah. And it's very consistent. But like I said, I've talked to a lot of people about this. They've actually been around this whole time I've been going through it and watching the whole process. And they said, we have never seen you contradict yourself. It's like, I don't think Yeshua does. Yeshua never contradicts himself. And I'm following him. I'm not saying that I'm Yeshua. I'm saying my heart is filled with Yeshua. Not trying to take his place. Not trying to take his throne in any way, shape, or form. When I first started out on that road, I said, because they asked me that, do you want his throne? I said, no. I think it was a genuine offer. And I said, no, I don't want it. They said, why? I said, because he earned that throne. That's his throne. It's not mine. First of all, I don't steal. And second of all, not that I'm perfect in any way, anyway, he belongs there. He belongs where he is. He belongs with his throne, on his throne. That's Yeshua. And I want him on that throne. They said, would you try to do that with the Father? Would you try to take his throne? I said, no. That's the Father's throne. I was made for a reason. I was made for a purpose. I have a place. I'm just here to try to find out where it is so that I can be a part of the system, the program, be a part of the Father's creation and his intentions. That's all I wanted. I want that peace. I want what I am and who I am to fit. So I have peace. That's all any man wants is peace. Any decent person wants peace. So after that, immortality comes in. Your mind no longer deals in filth and disgust. They're all matters of the spirit. They're all matters of Yeshua, all matters of Yahweh, set apart spirit, helping others, doing the best you can. You're not blinded. Believe me, you're not blinded because I'm no virgin priest. Okay. I can do marriage counseling. I can do that. I can do addiction counseling. I can do that. Been through it all. Right there where most of you are listening to this. I've been there and he showed me the way out and he's ready to show you the way out. So hopefully me sharing these experiences with you can help you. Just like Derek Prince, he's a good man. He's died, but he's a good man. And he shared his experiences with you, his spiritual experiences, the interesting stories he's got. Very interesting stories. So these are ways of the narrow way that will help you go to peace. Stop warring with your Father in heaven. He's done nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing. It's the way it works. Thank you for listening. I do really do appreciate it. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate that. Um, hopefully, may get some to a sermon earlier. Not going to promise anybody anything because matters of the spirit and all those things have its own time. So you don't rush anything. So if it's 10 days, it's 10 days. And I'm sorry about that, but this is, going through it and then trying to do a sermon with it at the same time. It's almost impossible because you're in so much pain. But afterwards and after it's all done, it's a really good time. It's worth it. You have your highs and you have your lows. And don't take for granted anything that comes to your mind because 9 times out of 10, it could be coming from the set apart spirit. It could be coming from Yeshua. You don't know. So don't ignore things that come to your brain. Okay. I'm not saying listen to the voices. I'm not saying that. So don't go along with that. And I'm not saying you got to watch the gurus, the ones that start saying that you're your own God. Don't fall for that. Because even as far as I've been on the narrow way, I am not my own God. That's not the way this goes. Don't fall for that new age crap. It's all garbage. I've been what I tell you? I've been there. I used to be with groups. We used to sit around in circles and do the whole prayer stick thing and all that garbage. And looking for the power within and all this kind of crap. It's all garbage, folks. All right, get away from it as fast as you can. That is the way where everyone will perish that goes down that direction because it's the wide gate. It's the wide door. It's not the narrow gate or the straight gate. And he's not kidding. You will perish, and I'm sorry about that. I really am. I don't want to see anybody perish. I don't want to see anybody go that direction. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And I've had some enemies in this world, people that have hated my guts and all that through this government stuff, hated me with a passion, trying to kill me and everything else. They're so damn mad at me. But I wouldn't wish that on them. Okay? You have a chance. That chance ends on your last breath. Don't be stupid. Don't do the stupid thing. Get uh get on your knees and start moving. Repent. Ask the set apart spirit to come into your heart. Invite him in. Invite Yeshua into everything you do, every aspect of your life, all parts of it, no matter what it is. If I have some of the most embarrassing things in the world, I can talk to Yeshua about it. He knows everything about me. Okay. So thanks for listening to this broadcast of the I'm sorry, the Yeshua's King Ministries. And I'll see you next time.